Jimmy Garoppolo headed to the Las Vegas Raiders. Sources have it that the deal is being closed in upon right now.
This guy knows McDaniel's offense. When he's on the field, he's a winner. Now, he does have a little bit of injury concerns, but obviously they're going to protect him, and he's going to be a perfect fit for this Raiders team. Turns out that is not the case at all.
Jimmy Garoppolo failed his physical with the Raiders. They haven't paid him a penny, and there's a possibility he never will play a down for the Raiders. He'll get released before the season starts, and the 49ers could re-sign him.
Jimmy Garoppolo is about to absolutely finesse the Oakland Raiders out of $33 million, and here's how. In today's video, we're going to be answering these 3 questions. What's the clause that everybody's talking about in Jimmy G's contract? What are the Raiders going to do if he doesn't play? And lastly, is Jimmy G really worth the massive contract he just signed with the Oakland Raiders? Now, in order to understand this, we need to take a trip down memory lane. In mid-March, Jimmy Garoppolo signed a contract with the Oakland Raiders on a 3-year, $73 million contract, of which $33 million were guaranteed. The Raiders front office and nation was ecstatic.
One of the workers at the ranch,
yes,
someone named Caitlin Bell, said, quote, this is in a statement, quote, I almost fainted when I heard Jimmy signed with the Raiders. He deserves free chickens just for joining our team, but he gets free chickens for life. I'm using chickens for a different word.
yes.
Just because he's such a legit babe.
They had found their franchise quarterback, and we'd be set for the next 3 years. Well, they thought at least. But something fishy happened at his introductory press conference when the Raiders delayed Jimmy Garoppolo's introductory, and everybody said there was nothing to see here. There was, though. He failed his physical, and his contract was dramatically reworked because of this. Fast forward to about 2 weeks ago, and news has come out that Garoppolo has now failed his second physical in the past 2 months. Now, most people are just like me and asking,
has this ever happened before? Like, is there ever been
$72 million feels like a lot of money for this to potentially fuck up.
That's what I was like. How does this happen?
Yeah.
Like, this is the NFL. They're doctors and everything. Like, how does this happen? I mean,
but they knew. The Raiders knew.
The truth is, though, what nobody knew is that due to Jimmy G's left foot injury he suffered this past season, everyone thought he didn't need surgery, as it was deemed not that big of a fracture at the time. But he underwent surgery after signing his contract with the Raiders in March. The surgery caused Garoppolo to miss at least the start of organized team activities and will reportedly likely sideline him until the start of training camp at the earliest. And after failing his past 2 physicals, failing another could lead the Raiders to impose the clause that is a part of Jimmy G's contract. What's that clause, you ask? Well, in documents gained by Pro Football Talk, the clause titled Addendum G specified that Garoppolo wouldn't have been able to sign his deal without a waiver because of the left foot injury he suffered with the 49ers in December, and that a waiver and release clause that would allow the team to release Garoppolo without charge if he doesn't pass a physical. Due to this clause, Jimmy G has yet to receive any of his money and won't until he passes the physical.
You know, that we felt comfortable with where we were at with Jimmy.
But you know, everything that's happened since we've signed Jimmy, we knew ahead of time.
Which begs the question, what if Jimmy G doesn't play this year? And the more important question, what if he does pass the physical just to get his guaranteed money, only then to get injured mid-season? Well, to answer the first question, a lot of people, including Vegas, are speculating Tom Brady is going to come out of retirement for one last hurrah.
Coming back and playing for your old offensive coordinator, who's now coach of the team that you're part owner of.
His relationship
those logistics are such that you can never see it.
But the more intriguing of the two is the second one. Because if he does quote-unquote pass this physical, then somehow does get injured mid-season, was Jimmy G really healthy enough to pass that physical? Or did he just go get a second opinion and, I don't know, pay off some doctors in order to get the okay from them and pass his physical and collect his $33 million guaranteed, only to leave the Raiders to turn to Brian Hoyer or rookie quarterback out of Purdue, Aiden O'Connell, if he does get injured? Now wouldn't that be a hell of a story? So in order for Jimmy G to get his money, he needs to somehow find a way to pass his upcoming physical, or the Raiders will just cut him with no financial repercussions. They've already removed his $11 million signing bonus from the contract And if it does work out, Garoppolo will have a $22.5 million base salary, and his cap hit will rise to $23.8 million in 2023. And that'll be a hell of a lot of money to be paying an injury-plagued quarterback. Which brings us to the third and most important question. Is Jimmy G really worth all this money? All right, let's do this one more time. Before the Bay Area, Garoppolo was a solid backup for the Pats, always being overshadowed by Brady though. Although he did provide to be a very good backup when Brady was sidelined for Deflategate, he managed to have a 14-3 record while in Foxborough. The Pats still traded him in October of 2017 to the Bay Area, where again, he did have a great record of 39-18, but others thought that the win-loss record didn't mean much.
Roster with one of the NFL's better play callers and some pretty good coaches on this staff, and suddenly it's all Jimmy Garoppolo. It's a slap in the face to everybody else in that organization. That's the real reason that they won. And look at the playoffs. When it came time for Jimmy to ball out in the playoffs, where was he?
While in the Bay Area, he did have his ups and downs, leading the Niners to the Super Bowl in 2019, only to lose then to the up-and-coming Chiefs and Patty Mahomes. And if that didn't sting enough, the Niners 2 years later then proceeded to trade up in the 2021 draft to go and get Trey Lance and send a message to Jimmy G that his talents were no longer needed in the Bay Area, despite leading them to a Super Bowl and having multiple 3,000-yard seasons. Garoppolo's contract wasn't renewed by the Niners and was an unrestricted free agent. In March of 2023, was signed by the Raiders in desperate need of a quarterback since Carr signed with the New Orleans Saints. So while he may have had a good win-loss ratio, it seems that others may think that his play has not lived up to his money that he's been paid, always seeming to be involved in off-field headlines and overshadowed by other things or even other players, but is looking to try and prove he's worth all the money he's been paid for in the past 10 seasons. And who knows, maybe the Raiders did get a future Hall of Fame quarterback and are going to compete for a Super Bowl. Or maybe they just made the biggest blunder in franchise history and just got robbed by Jimmy Garoppolo.